From pillar to post and coast to coast, this is Live Audio Wrestling.
Live Audio Wrestling.
John Pollock here with you at Smash Wrestling as they have invited the Progress Wrestling folks here for the weekend, and we are joined by Jack Gallagher, who has been quite the talk of late. Jack, just looking at this past week for you, has it almost been surreal where you've been part of the Cruiserweight Classic, getting to watch the show this past weekend, and where the next steps are going to take you? Have you been able to kind of take all this in of what has been going down in your career just over the last number of days, let alone months?
I'm trying not to get too self-reflective and solipsistic, but it's been quite lovely actually, just traveling around, meeting a bunch of new people, having people recognize me for a change, and trying not to let it get to my head. And actually this is the third country I've been in this week to wrestle, so I'm just appreciating all the love and effort everyone's putting towards my career right now. It's fantastic.
Tell me a bit about the last few months for you and how you got the call to be involved in the Cruiserweight Classic and that whole process.
Well, early last year, I was due to be having a tryout for the WWE. It had been arranged by William Regal. Unfortunately, due to health issues, Mr. Regal couldn't make it to England that year to help arrange the tryout. He said, however, we have something in the works, and I've put your name forward, just, if you're free and if you'd be interested. And I thought, well, of course I'm interested, but I didn't say that to him at the time. Yes, sir, I'll see how my calendar is. And it was shortly after that, it was around February, I was told, okay, we're going to do qualifiers. I wasn't given an exact date. I was just told, keep yourself free and we'll update you. And it got to the point where I was on the phone with the WWE, finalizing you're going to be wrestling this person for Progress Wrestling in London. It will be a qualifying match. Hung up, and 3 hours later, everyone else knew.
Wow. That's how it works in wrestling.
That's how it works even at the top, apparently, yes. It has been, as you said, surreal for me.
It's amazing just to watch the WWE and getting involved with so many outside promotions. I mean, typically it's been very much a singular view with the WWE, and here you see Progress Wrestling being promoted on the WWE website, the embracing of talent that I think 5 years ago maybe we didn't think that would be going to the WWE. For yourself, was there ever a point in time, was WWE always the goal for you? Did you think that was a realistic option for you when you were just beginning in your early days?
I didn't think it was a realistic option when I started. Of course, it's something that everyone wants to do. I don't think I know many people from this country, from England, from America, who got into wrestling without at least being very aware of the WWE, and that was the same for me. I think up until recently, I actually didn't think it was a good possibility. I had always thought, I'll probably go to Japan, again, try and make my name there, be on the independent scene in America, but it seems that the WWE, at least in my eyes, has taken a much more positive route for myself, obviously, and for others, being a lot more inclusive. Because the territories went away, the old-fashioned territories in America, and really the new territories are the independents, where we've been building fantastic wrestlers, and perhaps the new generation of stars are the champions right now, and they were all names on the independents bar, maybe one or two. So it's been a revelatory last year, I think.
As they brought in the 32 of you, and I know you guys were in there a few days earlier working at the Performance Center, the night of, it's 16 matches. Was there almost kind of a competition amongst everybody that here you have some of the best talent under one roof? Everyone wants to shine for this audience on the WWE platform. Tell us a bit about just the atmosphere amongst the guys in the tournament, much less the audience.
Funny enough, it wasn't the night of that really struck me. It was the night before when we first went to the venue. Because up until that point, it's still sort of existing in an abstract form. Oh, you're going to wrestle for the WWE in Full Sail and be transmitted to millions of people. And then we went into the actual arena and you see it and you start taking it in, and that's when it becomes a real thing. And you could feel a nervous energy start buzzing around 32 guys who suddenly realized this wasn't a practical joke being played on all of us. It was actually happening. I think on the actual night of it, we were just all excited. That it was a friendly competition maybe, but I don't think there was any edge to it. We all wanted this to succeed. We all realized we were in this together. And not to sound too self-centered, but I was kind of focused on what I was doing to a great extent that night and just getting myself in the best performance mode I could.
A veteran like yourself, when you're walking out there at Full Sail University and you're thinking to yourself, maybe some of these audiences are seeing me for the first time, is there any part of you that's thinking, are they going to understand my style? Am I going to make that connection, or is that kind of the challenge that you expect and you thrive under?
I think there was always a little niggling voice in the back of my head that says, this is the night everyone figures out you're a fraud, but thankfully no one's done that yet. It's actually that that I can only be myself in front of a camera in the ring and in life. I realized that very soon. I stopped trying to be other people a long time ago. So I don't really worry about it. You either love me or you hate me. And as Oscar Wilde said, there's only one thing worse than not being talked about. And, well, sorry, being talked about, and that's not being talked about.
When you got to see the finished product and the video package they put together, I thought instantly you made a connection with that audience. And with the enhancement of the commentary of Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan, these were two guys that you could see really gravitated to Jack Gallagher. What did you think of the first presentation against Fabian Eichner and how everything came off and the own reaction you were receiving online from others?
It was incredibly positive. I didn't see anything negative being lobbied my way by any stretch. I think as well the WWE produced something completely unique to them. It felt much more like a sports environment with Mr. Ranallo obviously having the history in MMA and Daniel Bryan's enthusiasm, but as well his vast technical textbook knowledge of holds. It became much more of a sports feel and was something completely different. I became a fan of the show, and I know a good load of wrestlers became a very big fans of the show. I was blown away by what they managed to put together.
What was the show like Wednesday with the finale? You were showing there in the crowd. It was, to me, one of the best shows this year, being there live. What was that atmosphere like on Wednesday?
It was, I'm going to keep using this word, surreal. And it was actually perhaps the first time in a long time I've truly just been a fan of wrestling. It's very hard to shut that critical part of your brain off where you're analyzing what people are doing and how they're doing it and how the people are reacting. But I went out there and just watched the show, and for the first time in maybe nearly 10 years of doing this, I just enjoyed it as a fan. I had a fantastic time.
What is the future of Jack Gallagher in the MMA world? We know you have had 2 professional fights, one just this past year. As your wrestling career is really taking off to the next level, where does mixed martial arts stand for you?
Currently, because I've been traveling as much, I haven't had as much time to sort of dedicate to being in the gym, Fighting Fit Manchester. If I had the time, I would certainly pursue it. I was trying to balance it as much as possible. As pro wrestling is starting to become much more regular for me, I think I'll probably be focusing on that right now. And very obviously, the Cruiserweight division on Raw is becoming something. So right now, I'm mainly pro wrestling, but I'm going to be dropping into whatever gyms I can whilst I'm on the road.
And before we wrap up, just contrasting when you first broke into the industry and where the British scene was versus today, it feels like it's such a hotbed. You see so much talent emerging on a monthly basis, it feels. Can you just take us through the transitional period over the past decade that we've seen?
Well, it has been a decade of learning and growing for myself. When I first debuted, it was probably in front of 20 people in the middle of Manchester for a promotion you probably never heard of. And now that same promotion is getting 500-600 people regularly. Future Shock Wrestling now in Manchester, and they're not just doing the same venues anymore. They're branching out 3 to 4 venues, doing the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester and selling that out. It feels, and I was discussing this with a friend the other day, that the scene itself is growing with all of the wrestlers. We all turned up not knowing what we're doing, trying to figure it out as we're going along, and quite frankly, very amateurish. And now it feels as if we've started to understand how to do this a little better, present ourselves, train ourselves, market ourselves, all the aspects, whilst the rest of the business in the independent scene in England is doing the same. And you can't help but look around and feel very proud, because obviously for you North Americans and the worldwide Japan, such as Will Ospreay, and you're just discovering these people, which we've known for at least 2 or 3 years now. I can't wait to put this person in front of a camera and just let the world realize how good he is.
Well, we know you are part of the Cruiserweight division, and I imagine this next week it's going to be, again, pretty surreal for you coming up. Are you kind of going into this with probably just as many questions as to what the next step is?
I'm going to assume that no one has seen me before. I'm going to assume no one's seen the Cruiserweight Classic before. I'm just going to turn up and be myself, and you can love me, you can hate me, but I'm just going to stick around.
Well, we're very much looking forward to it, and Jack, thanks so much for this time.
Thank you so much.